That's right, guess who's back? Want to bet for another play of the week? I know you guys missed me, but I'm back, and I'm ready to have a play for you for the December 29th New Year's Eve card. Junior Dos Santos fighting Cain Velasquez in the rematch. Now, in order to really understand the full gravity of this rematch, we need to reflect on prior history. And I ain't even talking about the first fight and discounting the injuries, the knee injuries to both people, the rotator cuff injury to Cain, the quick knockout, the stylistic matchup back then. Let's not even go there because I know you guys are already familiar with all this. I mean, if you forget history, you're doomed to repeat it, and I'm talking about even before that. I'm talking about a man by the name of Charles David Little, originally in the UFC, facing Jacob Christopher Ortiz. What the fuck is that? I'm talking about Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz. The perfect stylistic matchup analogy for this fight, and why I think Junior Dos Santos at minus 160 is the absolute steal of a play here. Now, specifically with respect to the reference of Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz, you're talking about two of the very best UFC light heavyweights ever at that time. And there was pretty fierce debate back then in terms of who would win, and then in the rematch, really, what Tito's chances were. And stylistically, Tito Ortiz is almost a paradigm for Cain Velasquez in terms of his relentless takedowns and fierce ground and pound to the point of TKO with passable stand-up, relatively respectable kickboxing that generally will not KO anyone, but he has enough power in his hands to keep it competitive. Has even rocked Ryan Bader as an example recently in the resurgence of his career before his retirement. Very similar to Cain, who will generally not knock anyone out unless they're in the pocket like Nog was, and he's really at a disadvantage if he's not employing his wrestling game plan. Now, the only people that really prevent that game plan employment are guys with legendary takedown defense, and that's Chuck Liddell. And the Chuck Liddell of Tito Ortiz for Cain is Junior Dos Santos. Junior has unbelievable takedown defense, great low center of gravity, great hips. He's great at springing back right up if he's ever taken down. Did that to Gonzaga, did that to Shane Carwin. The guy is unbelievable at preventing guys from grinding him out, and he employs his game plan. And that, just like Chuck, is using his footwork, his chin, and then outboxing guys and landing power after power shot until the guys are TKO'd or finished. And Junior, very much like Chuck, has considerable power, but he might not even have the most power in his weight class. It's a simple fact that he's very accurate with his strikes, landing on the chin, and when he lands a power shot, he lands several power shots that will just put you away. So Junior has an uncanny ability to stuff takedowns, sprawl and brawl, and employ his game plan. And just like we saw with Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz, Tito was a sitting duck. He couldn't employ his game plan. No matter how good his takedowns were, Chuck's takedown defense trumped Tito's takedowns. Junior Dos Santos' takedown defense will trump Cain Velasquez's takedown ability. So I firmly believe that Junior Dos Santos is the right play here. Now I know that Junior is starting to get more expensive, and there might be a playback by some suckers on Cain in the plus 150, plus 160 range. So if that's the case, I would certainly play Junior at anything under minus 200, as he really has this fight far more than 2 out of 3 times. So I wouldn't go super huge if it gets to the minus 200 range, but if it creeps back down to the minus 150, I like a moderate to large play. Now, there's another play I like on this specific matchup that is a prop bet. Now, it seems like someone else really bet this down recently, so you guys have to watch out for this to see if it comes back to the territory I got it. But the bet is actually in no man's land. Like, I'm talking plus 1465. And that bet, and you think I'm fucking crazy, and I'll explain to you my rationale, is Junior Dos Santos by 5-round decision. Now, you're probably thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? It's going to be Junior knocking him out, or else Cain's going to come on strong, his cardio is going to take over, and Junior's going to be grinded out. Well, not so much. So what I was talking earlier about Junior having very good boxing and very solid power, he puts guys away. If you actually look at Junior's knockouts, except for guys who pretty much never expected it and were willing to trade in the pocket, like Verdun getting the uppercut of death, Junior generally doesn't knock guys out with one punch. I mean, even look at his most recent fight like Frank Mir. Frank took a beating, and by the end of the second, he was wobbly, but Frank really was never out. It was just extremely awkward, and he was getting TKO to the point that Herb Dean just said, fuck this shit, and I'm stepping in. Similarly, even when he knocked out guys like Struve that have questionable striking defense, their head's on a pole, and they just get punched the fuck out, he didn't knock Struve out either. He just TKO'd him with a flurry of punches. And there are some guys that are simply too resilient to be TKO'd by Junior, and we saw that in the Carwin fight. Almost no one gave Junior Dos Santos a chance to or that fight to even go 3 rounds, let alone Junior win that. And Junior tried to punch Carwin out in that first round, couldn't do it. Herb did not stop that, and he went on to just dominate Carwin, stuffed any takedown, outboxed him, but couldn't finish him. So when you start to put the puzzle pieces together and you see that Cain, even though he was dropped multiple times in the fight like the Congo fight, he was pretty damn resilient, and he's only been stopped and really only lost in that Junior Dos Santos fight where he also never went out. It's debatable if he ever went out and then got re-woken up by that one strike and rolled over. But the point was, you saw him at one point hip heist and try to get out of the ground and pound. Junior just started pounding on him, and he did get the stoppage. There was no question about that stoppage. But it wasn't as if he knocked him out with one punch or to the point that he was out and Cain had no resiliency. You saw Cain's resiliency as he popped right up. So the question is Junior going to finish Cain again? Probably, yeah. But is it going to be 9 times out of 10? I don't think that's the smart mathematical outcome here. I don't think that 9 times out of 10, Junior is just going to finish him. I mean, we've seen multiple fights now where Junior's blown his wad and he wasn't able to finish the guy, and then he just dominated. Roy's another guy. Now, Roy probably has better resiliency than Cain. Roy has probably better resiliency than anyone at heavyweight in the UFC, but the fact remains that Junior couldn't put him away or Carwin away, and Cain is a pretty resilient guy, so the reality is, instead of thinking of Cain as winning a 5-round decision, which I also think is not as crazy as people think, I don't think Cain is going to finish Junior. I think that's very unlikely, and that's a relatively good fade bet, is if you want to bet not Cain by inside the distance. But staying on point, you could bet this as fight goes the 5-round distance. The odds aren't as good now. They opened up at plus 1,000, which is unbelievable, and then down to plus 700, now plus 550. I wouldn't really play that right now, but I would watch out if that goes right up again and people start to think, oh, it's going to be a fight that's over because heavyweights never go 5 rounds, which is generally bullshit because there have been heavyweight fights that have gone 5 rounds, and these guys actually stylistically are lighter heavyweights that if the initial surge can be withstood, then they're both resilient enough to be able to go 5 rounds. And I think that Junior would employ his boxing. He would beat Cain up on the feet. Cain would start to grind later. He would probably complete some takedowns, some clinch work along the cage, and Junior would be on his back. I think with enough protection himself from ground and pound that Cain, even though he'll get good shots off, will not be able to stop Junior, and it will go to the cards. And I think that Junior will have won more than enough rounds that even if Cain steals a round or two with ground and pound, Junior's going to win that decision. So I think people don't really think of Junior as having any likelihood of winning a decision, but, and I'm not saying to put all of your, to put like pretty much all your bet on Junior by decision, because I mean it's still, I'm talking about a bet that's capped at about 5% where I got it. Now it's in about 10% range. I think it's higher than that, but I don't think it's more than say 20%, 25% max. So it's definitely not. It's more than likely it's not going to come through, but it'll come through considerably more than it was when I initially bought it up. So ultimately, I like Junior at a play here. I think he's just gonna dominate Cain again, just like Chuck did to Tito. It's a stylistic nightmare, and put your money on Junior Dos Santos. I think he's as close to a lock as you'll get um, in a championship fight with two legitimate contenders. I just think that Cain, as good as he is, and he's probably the second or third best heavyweight. I like Daniel Cormier as well. I think he's a tougher stylistic matchup for Junior Dos Santos personally. Uh, Junior just has Cain's number, and I think he'll show it again on December 29th. So that's my play. With respect to other plays in the card, there hasn't been too many lines that come out. Obviously, there's the Belcher Okami line. It's a close fight. So personally, I like Okami at near even money. Personally, I like him stylistically, and also because my boy Easy's I think about 0-9 now, betting 4 against Belcher fights, and he likes Belcher here, so it's a pretty obvious fade of my boy Easy rather than fading Alan Belcher. So I think Okami is able to grind a 3-round decision. I think again, it's one of these things where Belcher. Unlike Junior, he doesn't have a takedown defense to stuff Okami. Okami is a grinder. Okami's not going to be looking for subs and be risking position, much like Paul Harris. And when Okami gets hit on the feet, he can get rocked and he can get finished. But I don't think that this fight's going to play out on the feet for prolonged periods. I rewatched their debuts. I think it was UFC 62 to watch it. And Okami does have his jab. He's good at keeping good spacing with his takedowns and working that jab in order to keep Belcher guessing. And I don't think Belcher's going to feel comfortable against Okami. I think it's going to be a struggle for Belcher to get off. So I'm not discounting Alan Belcher. He's on a run right now. He's improved tremendously since his UFC debut, as Okami has. And I'm not really one to really say, oh, someone's stock is rising and someone's is declining. I would take the guy that's hotter right now. Because I think that's a poor way to really analyze fights. It's not to say that guys' mental fortitude can't be affected, and so Okami looked pretty shitty in the most recent fight against Buddy McGuy. But realistically, Okami knows what the game plan is to win. He's already done it once. He does it to very, very frequency, and he's successful at it. So I think Okami will be able to employ it once again. Belcher will not be able to sub Okami off his back. That's just Okami is not someone that's been subbed off his back, and at the end it'll be a really boring positional grappling battle where Okami wins a decision. So I'd play that small to moderate because Okami is a flake, and he could get rocked and finished while there's the brief stand-up exchanges, or Belcher could stuff a takedown. He's working, I think, right now. He was saying on basically looking for reversals, somewhat like Carlos did against George in the 4th and 5th rounds. And it's possible that he does get a reversal against top position and attacks aggressively with ground and pound or a sub. But realistically, Okami is a bit of a kryptonite for Belcher, much like Junior is for Cain. So I'll play it small to moderate, and that's it. If Okami fails, then kudos to my boy Easy, because it would be nice to see to get him nice to see him get a win finally on a Belcher fight. So yeah, those are my two plays, and I like Junior moderate to large. I'll take Junior as well by decision and look out for a prop that rises. And I like Yushin Okami moderate as well, small to moderate, depending upon where the line's sitting. But at even money, I like that moderate. All right, boys. Hope you enjoy the picks, and looking forward to giving more of them in the future. Cheers.